Another day, another episode of Leading Our Adventures, your venturing podcast. Welcome and thank you for joining. I'm your host, Hannah Todd, and today I'm very, very excited for our guests that we have to speak to today to learn about international scouting. Did you know Cub Scouts, Scouts BSA, venturing, Sea Scouts, exploring are not the only scouting opportunities we have across the world? Enter Evan. Evan is our guest today, Evan Nazareth, who has been around the block in scouting. He'll introduce himself in just a second, and has experienced a lot of different international scouting activities. International as in throughout the world, meeting different people. Evan, are you here? Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah. So, hello, Hannah. I'm really glad to be here today.
Thank
I
you for being
served
here.
as the 2023 to 2024 National Scout Bosun, as well as I currently serve as the National OA Youth Retention Chair and Kandersteg International Scout Center Ambassador.
Ooh, that's really cool. Do you want to tell us more of your past? Like, what did you do before all those fancy titles?
Yeah. So, I joined scouting when I was 12 years old. I'd heard about it from a friend on my soccer team, and I decided I'd look into it. I knew scouts camps probably once a month, something like that, and that's what got me interested into at least looking into the program. I found out once I was looking into what units were close by that the nearest was at my church, so I ended up exploring into that troop, and I found that all the members of my patrol I already knew through church, school, sports, soccer, and other activities that I was doing. So that was really exciting. And that was really what got me involved. Was we just had a really big fun activity. The first activity we did was a kickball game. And that was a really engaging way to become a part of the program. And I've learned since then that you can do so much more than camping once a month and scouting overall. I was really inspired by the leaders I had in my troop, adults and youth. I looked up to my SPLs and the Eagle Scouts that were all around. And that really inspired me to want to become those leaders. So I eventually served as both an SPL and earned my Eagle rank. But that got me thinking, what else do I want to do in scouting? So that led me to looking into older youth programs. I was poking around the Scout website and I found out about Sea Scouts, venturing, exploring, and all the amazing things you could do. And I continued my involvement in the Order of the Arrow. And yeah, that's what led me to become more involved in scouting and work to make a difference and lead the adventure.
I love it. I'm telling my brother right now he just turned in his paperwork for Eagle, and I was like, once you get Eagle, you can do anything you want in scouting. You can stay with your troop and do all this wonderful other things and opportunities. Obviously, you're on the Venturing podcast, so I have to ask what some of your most memorable experiences that you've had in venturing and the scouting program are.
Yeah, so for sure. A couple of my memorable experiences within venturing are going with my crew to Ukpik through Northern Tiers program. So we got to do the dog sledding trek there. And we did it through Musher Camp. And we got to stay in cabins and then go out and feed the dogs, take them out runs, and really get to experience what that cold weather camping is like. We even slept out one night to try and earn our 0 hero patch, and that was a really fun experience to do. I also was able to serve as the first ever NST 15 territory venturing president. Those titles have since been renamed, but that was a really awesome experience to be able to serve venturers in Georgia, North Carolina, South Carolina, and Virginia to be able to grow the Venturing Officers Associations, which is what VOA stands for, and help to grow the councils so that they can support their crews in turn.
I love it so much, and you're still advocating for the scouting program. I remember going to Northern Tier. It was definitely cold. Did you sleep in a Quincy, which is like a snow igloo?
We did not get to do that because we were doing we were like the one you stay in the cabin. I do want to go back and do that one eventually.
I see.
So,
Very,
sounds very
very cool. It is very cool. It is I would definitely recommend it. It's cool and cold, all at the same time. Awesome. So now that we know your venturing involvement, I'm sure you've taken your venturing uniform out of the United States. Do you want to tell us about that experience taking your mini uniforms scouting internationally?
Yeah, so I've got to do some pretty cool international opportunities from the 2019 World Jamboree that was held at the Summit Bechtel Reserve, which is one of our high adventure bases here in the US. But I've also got to go abroad to Kandersteg International Scout Center, which is also known as the Permanent Mini World Jamboree in Switzerland. And I'm fortunate to be able to go for the 100-year 1923 and being able to go back and celebrate the success and longevity that Baden-Powell originally envisioned, and being able to be there with so many different groups of scouters and get that same feel as a World Jamboree, just being able to meet everyone was amazing. Kandersteg has so much to offer in terms of activities program and just learning more about how you can interact with other scout groups and do fun things. We got to do a glacier hike when we were there, which was really cool. Been on the bucket list for a while. That was really incredible. We also got to do climbing, zip lining, and tour a lot of the major cities. We got to take a train to Bern one day to tour the capital. A lot of great opportunities. I got to meet the director of KISC at the time, Jack Higgins, and I currently serve as one of the 4 U.S. ambassadors for the program.
Awesome. It's definitely something I want to add to my bingo card in scouting. Do you want to do your ambassador thing and kind of give us like what do you tell units? What do you want to tell the venturing community about that?
Yeah, the things I like to showcase are how they can get involved. So you can serve on and apply to try staff as a pinky, which is some of their short-term staff, or you can offer more long-term positions. You can also get your units to go and travel there or show up for larger events like the Jamboree. They have a ton of events there in program. The main things are just looking into ways you can try and get there and interact with all the various scouting groups and learn about the history. So I highly recommend checking out the Kandersteg website and seeing how you can actually go and experience the amazing program there. Because the Switzerland has a ton of history as well in and of itself. So being able to tour the surrounding area is fantastic.
In a nutshell, if my crew wanted to go, would they be able to go in 2025 summer or would they need to go in 2026?
I think you would be able to go. I think you'd be able to go next year potentially, but it would be a lot more expensive. So I would definitely recommend planning in advance when it comes to international trips, so you can get reduced rates and be able to fully plan out what you want to do, how you want to do it, and budget correctly.
I love it. I love it. From your experience, what are some of the big differences you've noticed between scouting in different countries and the Scouting America program?
Yeah, so one of the things that I noticed when we were in Kandersteg was the differences between like our uniform styles. And like patch sizes, like I found that U.S. patches tend to be a lot bigger than other national scouting organizations, which I thought was interesting both ways. The age ranges of some of our programs are different. The advancement systems and awards can be different in how they're presented and what requirements you have to do and things along those lines. But what really like hit me was just how similar we are, because regardless of all of that, we all tend to stick to very similar values, traditions. We have jamborees all over the world. There's Canadian jamborees, there's ones in other countries, there's a huge Australian jamborees as well that happen quite often. So just being able to see that we all have appreciations for patches, advancement, and making these scouts ready for life and make a place was really interesting. And neckerchiefs are a huge part of national scouting. You'll find at pretty much all events, and everyone's very proud to represent their country and trade, and see the different symbolism behind each of the neckerchiefs, both because they'll tend to have neckerchiefs that are standards for their country. That's like their standard one, but they'll also tend to have ones for the event as well. So I have a lot of pretty cool Kandersteg 100-year anniversary neckers from various countries.
Very cool. I have seen people in pictures because I haven't been, but I guess that's what's going on when I see people with 1, 2, 5, 10 neckerchiefs on. Is that them just kind of showing them off and training?
Yeah, so a lot of them are just people showing the amazing training that they've done to be able to wear so many neckerchiefs. Our crew even created their own neckerchief for Kandersteg, which was really cool because my crew went on a trip to Kandersteg last year, and that was really cool for them to be able to go meet a bunch of the different groups there. But we had our own venturing Kisk neckerchief, which was really unique. And what they have is in the main building, they have all the neckerchiefs hung up from all the various groups that have come. So they tend to donate one. So there's tons of neckerchiefs just lining the building, which is just really cool to see all the amazing groups that have been represented. And our crew is a part of it because my crew went before I went for the 100-year Jamboree. So I was able to see our crew's one actually hung up, which was really neat to see. And all of them loved the venturing neckerchief because I ended up trading a few of the ones we had, and they were all really excited about the symbolism behind the logo, what the program represented, and hearing that trade and history. And that's one of the things I really appreciated is we had so many different groups of scouters represented there. Because one of the neckerchiefs I got was a Canadian Rover neckerchief, and it was like a scout logo with a fire. And I thought that was really cool, and just learning about how those groups function as well.
It's really cool. Awesome. Is there, my understanding is there is one thing that kind of sews everybody together that everybody has in their uniform. Maybe not in the same place, but do you want to talk about the International Scouting emblem?
Yeah, so all of us have the World Scouting Movement emblem patch. In some slight differences when it comes to like stuff like that, which I thought was interesting because when I was trading with other countries, I could see the differences in like how they were made and stuff like that. But the logo is the same across all of them, which is really cool and impactful to see the stretch of the World Scouting movement, but also the unity of the program. So yeah,
love it. So it's both we wear it on our left shoulders here in America. Where different places have you seen it different places on people's uniforms?
I think I may have seen it on a sleeve as well, but I think most of them tend to wear it on the front somewhere, in addition to other places as well, just wherever they can fit it, depending on their uniform policies. Which is also something I found interesting, like the ranks and stuff that we put in different places, other countries put in other places as well. Like not all of them have the Order of the Arrows, and all of them have lodge patches. They thought lodge flaps were very interesting, or council patches even. Like our council strip patch, which is very universal here in the U.S. A lot of them were very fascinated by CSPs, the abbreviation for that, because they tend to have different like local markings, which I thought was interesting. So I like round patches that kind of look like patrol patches, which were representative of districts that people were from or local areas. So I thought that was very interesting.
Do they have numerals like you and I do?
Not that I can remember off the top of my head. They may. I don't remember specifically if they have number patches or not. I'm sure some units there across scouting numbers and form.
I see. Very cool. Well, I'm done grilling you about the uniform trivia. Now let's move on to how has your involvement in international scouting impacted you personally? What perspectives or skills that have you gained or built upon through your involvement?
Yeah, so I would say the main I guess, skill I've developed is just being able to travel internationally, being able to pack something that's good for a flight or a train trip, or things along those lines, and really being considerate of that. But I think the biggest part I've probably learned is just the perspective. It's really opened me up to diverse viewpoints on how we view our organization. But mostly, I would say the friendship part of it is a huge part that I wasn't expecting. Being able to have connections not only across the country, but across the world, because I've got to know so many different Sea Scout groups when I was at ISK. Got to meet Sea Scouts from Greece, South Africa, other countries, rovers and venturers from other parts of the US and other countries, which I thought was really fascinating. And being able to keep up with those people pretty regularly through the interconnectedness of social media is really cool, because I've been able to keep up with people from the UK, from Australia, and just be able to see their scouting adventures and travels. And that's been amazing. I think being able to learn not only from them, but other scouting organizations as well, because you can see several of them through Instagram and Facebook and other social media platforms. You can learn and see how their programs differ, what cool things they're doing. A lot of New Zealand is very Sea Scouty, so they tend to be very good sailors, and being able to catch up with those aspects of various programs is very interesting.
Wow, that sounds like a lot of fun. In the coming years, if I wanted to get involved, or if a venturer watching wants to get involved with these kinds of activities, what kinds of opportunities or international events are there out there for us who want to connect globally in addition to social media?
Yeah, so there's the World Jamboree, which happens every 4 years, which is a fantastic opportunity. In addition to that, there's the Moot, which is going to be held in Portugal next year. And that's held for Scouts 18 to 25 as participants. And then everyone else who goes is able to serve, who's older, as IS stands for International Service Team. And that is generally the staff for international events. So there was an IST for the World Jamboree. There's going to be an IST for the Moot. And they're going to be able to serve the Scouts there who are participating. There's events through KISK pretty regularly, as well as the Jamboree on the Air and the Jamboree on the Internet, which the acronym for that is JOTA Jodi. And that's a World Scouting event that's held every year, and Scouts are able to participate through that event and connect online, connect through radio, connect through their computers, and just be able to communicate, have fun, and do various little activities. I've done the JOTA Jodi over a couple different years. I did some of the activities this year. It's just really interesting to see all the different ways and that cultures are able to present themselves through all these events. And you can find them online, just hear about them. They happen pretty regularly, either annually or every 4 years. So being able to check those out.
I love it. What steps should they take? Obviously, go online, do a little research, kind of stay up to date on social media platforms, but what other steps should they take to get involved? Are there any specific programs or initiatives to look into?
Yeah, so I'd highly recommend looking into the awards and initiatives offered both through Scouting America and through WASM. So you can check it out through the various pages, but two various examples are the Sustainable Development Goals, which are the SDGs, which are like very key goals related to the development world, and your Scouts can do service projects towards this through their crews at the council VOA level as well, to be able to help move the world forward. Each of them is focused on things related to hunger, food, housing, various ways we can help improve the world. And then there's also the Messenger of Peace program, which has recently been enhanced, which has 3 different kind of main levels of that award for that program. And you can learn about various ways you can do a project, learn more about it, share it with your community, and be able to earn a ring for your uniform, like the one you have on, Hannah.
Yes.
Yeah,
you can tell the differences between I think there's 3 levels. You would know more than I do. I just did
Yeah,
the basic first level before it was enhanced.
yeah. There's three levels. They are, I think they're the normal one, ambassador, and champion. It goes, you have the messenger's a piece of war, which is the standard one that you have, and then there is a blue border version of it, which is the champion award, and then there is a gold version, which is the highest level, which is the ambassador. And those are all related to different ways you can make a difference. The first level, how you can make a personal impact, doing a service project that way. The second one is community based, which is champion, which is the blue one. And then there's the gold level, which is collective results when working together, and you're able to make a difference. Those various levels, each is a different amount of service hours and involvement, and they increase throughout the course, but you can be able to earn those various awards. And then there's the distinguished one, which you have to be nominated for, which is a higher level recognition for that as well.
Ooh, I didn't realize that was an opportunity in WASM, the World Scouting Movement. All great initiatives to help make the world a better place. How do you feel that international scouting experiences shape a scout's character, especially in understanding different cultures?
I would say it's really good for scouts to be able to experience, because it really develops to have a deeper understanding and appreciation of the scouts and scouters of the world, and realize that there's multiple ways to approach things through different cultures and traditions and the values, and being able to be shaped by the experiences of singing a song together, learning about a new game, really impactful things, and really increases your and I think the main thing they should take away from that is just the appreciation and understanding that there are differences, but what matters most is the connections we have together and what ways we can improve to adapt the parts of other programs that we appreciate.
I love that. I love that a lot. You could take that and make it quotes and stick it on your wall for reminders about international scouting. Stick it in your scout hut, crew shack. I don't know. If someone's feeling on the fence, what advice would you give to a younger scout who's might be interested in global travel and making an impact in the scouting world, however, is a little like, maybe, maybe not? If Evan 4 or 5 years ago, what would you have told him?
Yeah, so I'd definitely tell someone who's new coming into this to definitely check out the events I mentioned earlier. But in addition to that, one of the great things about the venturing program is everything that we're able to do and lead by ourselves or with our crews. So being able to do things like the venturing activity interest survey, which is great for finding program, but maybe adapting that to be parts of high adventure trips related to international scouting, either just close by or abroad. Any way you can connect with other units, other groups, other crews, and being able to experience that. I've heard of ships and crews that have gone to other countries, such as the UK, have gone to Kisk, that have gone to Canadian Jamboree and other jamborees that are held. I heard of one that went to Iceland for one of the jamborees recently, or some event there. There's a huge international scouting base as well that's very well known. That's also good to check out. I would definitely say take it back to your crews. Think what do you want to do? Do you want to travel to certain countries? Do you want to invite other people to you? Just really being able to think outside the box and think of how you can make an impact for your crew and in general, and having fun.
I love that. Having fun. That is the most important thing. Well, you also have the planning and the actually taking the plunge to do it, but I know my crew likes to focus on having fun, and if we had fun at the end of the day, that's all that counts. And the memories that make on the way and all the lessons and etc. But some of our younger scouts only know that they just got to do something that's not accessible for a lot of different organizations. And I know that it's not always easy. Nothing worth doing ever is. So I was curious, Evan, on what challenges you have faced when participating in international events. How did you overcome them?
Yeah, so kind of going back to planning, one of the things I expected was travel. So being able to think about that ahead of time and make sure we planned out enough time for going to the event, the travel, the budgeting. Huge piece of being prepared to being able to embrace those challenges head on. One that I thought I would experience would be a language barrier. But what I was highly surprised by is most of the scouts at the events I've gone to actually speak English. And that's been a good way of connecting with everyone, because I was expecting when I was at these events that we'd have people and there would be confusion about what's going on, but everyone spoke English. And that was an amazing thing to be able to connect with everyone. Some of them are able to speak their countries as well, and being able to see that demonstrated at various points throughout these events been really cool. But I thought it was amazing being able to be embraced by the feeling that everyone is able to have fun regardless, language-wise or otherwise, just being able to connect with everyone. I would say, if anything, my bigger challenge was probably just being able to meet everyone there, because a lot of these events are massive. So being able to try and get to all the countries you want to get to, meet all the scouters, is a lot. So, yeah.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, it's one big game, and I think that kind of flows into the next question I have for you is, how can local scout groups benefit from learning about international scouting practices, even if it's not in the cards to go immediately right now, or maybe it's something they're interested in instead of going to summer camp? Are there any ways they can incorporate different perspectives from international scouting?
Yeah, so I think you hit on a great point, and that's one of my favorite parts of scouting as well, which is that most of everything that we do, activity-wise, is a game with a purpose, whether it be through National Youth Leadership Training or Wood Badge. Everything is intentional, and we're trying to get you to think outside the box, be challenged by these things, make memories with whatever abstract means we're going about doing something. So one of the things that's great about international scouting is you're exposed to a lot more different games, songs, practices, go about things, what they celebrate. And that was one of the things that I loved about KISK is they have an international campfire. Generally, it's on Thursdays, and it's held every single like that week of the summer. And being able to go to one, well, the first day we got there was a Thursday. And my friend there was a local, and he was like, oh, we should go check out the campfire. And just being able to see the wide variety of songs that came out of that, and dancing. And yeah, they had a lot of people who were really good at dancing. And I was really impressed by that. So being able to see all those groups come together and just be so enthusiastic and like learning, repeat after me, even some of which were in different language, being able to just go through, embrace, and celebrate. That was really, really neat. And one of the things I really liked going into KISK. So definitely try and check out one of those international campfires if you ever get to go.
Noted. I will write it down right after this conversation that we have. That sounds like something I would so enjoy. Maybe some of my local scout groups could learn from those. How do you see international scouting evolving in the future? What changes or trends do you see? Because you're an ambassador of Moot, not Moot. You're ambassador of
KISK.
KISK. Okay. Sorry, got the acronym stuck all around. What changes or trends are you excited about?
I'm really excited to see how we get further connected online, because we have events like Joe to Jody, but I think as the world becomes more online and has access to more things and activities are advanced, I'm really interested to see how it goes. And if we have, I think we will have more events jamborees online, things of that nature, and being able to see how that direction goes, and being able to be on the same page, doing larger service project efforts, larger support of countries and games and activities. I'd love to see where the direction of that goes over the next several years as tech continues to grow. But in addition to that, as far as in-person events go, I think the Moot is something that's really exciting. And I think people are still to register for it. The next one is in Portugal next year. And either way, being able to check out the Facebook page for that, follow along with the events, see the pictures, the games, the activities, the fun, and the fellowship that's going to be held throughout that event and future ones to come is really exciting. And again, that's for 18 to 25-year-olds. So I'm really overall excited to see the trend that a lot of this information is spreading further as social media has continued to grow, and that I'd like to see more excitement. And I think that's the trajectory we're currently on.
I think one thing that's definitely international is Scouts love their fun. Are we going to see you at some of these upcoming events, Evan?
I think you said, will I be at further international events? I probably will. I will probably go to another World Jamboree at some point or another, whether it be the next one in 2027 in Poland or another one going forward. I think these events are great ways to integrate, and they are always so much fun. The international events I've been to, probably top 10 in terms of scouting, because they really bring people together, and it's so much fun.
I love it. Top 10 on Evan's must-do list. Am I sounding better? Is my audio better? Maybe? Okay, great. I have one more question, and maybe you can even loop in any extra things you wanted to say to any of our viewers. But my final question is, what's one thing you would encourage all Scouts to try or experience during their scouting journey, whether it locally or globally?
So I'd definitely say try and attend a national event in person if you can. It's a great way to get more involved globally, make those connections, make those friendships. But if you want to try something locally or globally outside of that, or don't necessarily have the opportunity, one of the things you can do is bring it to you. So you can invite international scouts to online meetings. We've had scouts from the UK come to some of our activities. Pretty cool to see throughout the various that I've been a part of. You can also have international scouts come to your summer camp exchange program. We've had summer camps around here who have consistent staff members from like South Africa, other countries who consistently come in. So there's great ways to rope it in and really tie those things together. You could make patch boards celebrating international scouting and all the amazing things you've collected. There's so many camps that show that heritage and through that way. Additionally, locally, you could plan high adventure trips locally, nationally, internationally, inviting other scout groups, going to other jamborees, making your own event, really anything you want to do. Check out all the cool things you can do in questions, and really just ownership of and to lead the adventure. So that's
I love it. Unfortunately, I think my internet was going in and out, so I'm going to have to watch this episode again so I can hear all the wonderful things that you just said. Evan, thank you so much for sharing your insight. And to you, our listeners, thank you for tuning in to this episode 20 of the Venturing Podcast, Leading Our Adventures. We will catch you next time in 2 weeks from now. Until next time, and until then, stay adventurous and keep leading the way. Thank you all for watching. Bye, everyone.
bye.